The best way to market an indie game is to get YouTubers and streamers to play the game. At least that's what I think. I have previously talked about the importance of this, and in my last two videos I went through how to find the right creators for your game, how to contact them, and what services were out there that could help you with all this. I will leave links in description in case you haven't seen those yet. I still had a few tips in my mind that didn't make it into those videos. So in this video I will share 5 useful tips that should help you get some additional results when working with creators. Hi, my name is Auro. I'm a solo indie game developer and I'm the creator of a game called Mortal Glory. On top of that, I also make these weekly YouTube videos sharing my experiences to help you with your own game dev journey. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and smack that subscribe button. If you find these videos helpful, I would also really appreciate if you destroyed the like button. I really need to learn my YouTube lingo. But seriously, the likes really help me out a lot. They tell YouTube algorithm that my videos aren't just a waste of bandwidth. Okay, let's jump into the tips. Number 1. Follow-up email. After you have sent your first batch of emails to creators and a week or two has passed, you should try sending a follow-up email to those that haven't replied to you. Something like, hey, just a quick reminder that my game is coming out soon. Most people haven't replied to you because they are busy and not interested, but there can always be some who either forgot to reply to you or completely missed your first email. I had several people respond to my follow-up email thanking me for reminding them that my game was coming out soon. These were people who were interested in making a video but didn't want to make it so early. If I didn't send a follow-up email, they would have likely forgotten that the game was coming out and not made a video at all. But there's definitely a balancing act involved with follow-up emails. After all, you don't want to needlessly spam people. I did some quick googling and found mentions of studies that claim that the 7th or even 10th follow-up email would still be beneficial, but I don't think you want to be that guy. Personally, I think 1 to 2 follow-ups is okay, and maybe a third one in some cases. Anything after that just feels too spammy to me. Follow-up emails are a very familiar subject in the marketing world, so if you don't know how to approach the subject, you can find a lot of information by googling. I have personally received a few follow-up emails where the other person basically tried to guilt trip me into responding. Don't be that guy either. Number 2. Reaching out to international audiences. Did you know that only 39% of Steam's audience has English set as their language? You should not forget the potential of international audiences, especially if your game is localized and supports other languages. YouTube is popular in many non-English speaking countries also. You can try finding creators from other nationalities, for example by translating your keywords into other languages and seeing if they bring up any results. Genre words are usually good keywords for this. Let's take turn-based as a keyword. It's rundenbasiert in German. Now, if you search YouTube with that, we can find creators that produce content in German that you might have missed otherwise. If you are getting your game localized, I would advise getting your email template translated also. The creators might appreciate you approaching them in their own language. If they reply, you can then just continue with Google Translate, explain that you are doing so, and apologize for possible mistakes. When I have done this, I have usually received praise for going through the effort of using their own language rather than just using English. Also note that YouTube is not popular in every country. For example, ordinary Chinese people don't use YouTube for various reasons. Instead, they use sites like Bilibili or Douju. If you are targeting a specific nationality, do a quick Google search to see if they use YouTube or some other similar sites. Number 3. Getting your game to show on Twitch. If you want your game to show up as a streaming category on Twitch, you will need to add your game to igdb.com, which is a public game database operated by Twitch. At the same time, you should verify as a game developer on Twitch, so you will be able to add cover image for your game also. For a long time, Twitch used a site called Giant Bomb to get game details, but it seems they have quite recently switched to using IGDB. So if you see someone telling you to add your game to Giant Bomb for this purpose, know that that is old information. While we are on the topic of Twitch, I also want to mention that in case you didn't know, you can also build a Twitch integration in your game to enable additional features for streamers and their fans, like viewer voting and loot drops. I haven't tried them myself, so I cannot comment too much about them, but I do think they sound interesting, especially if you're hoping for your game to be very streamable. This might be something to think about. That said, I don't expect these features to be too easy to add to your game, like bim bam boom, 5 minutes and you're ready to go. They most likely require a lot of tinkering and testing, so I wouldn't run into it blindly if you're a solo developer or otherwise don't have a lot of extra time on your hands. It's still a lot better to finish your game than go for extra features like this. Number 4. Avoiding scammers. Once your game is out, you will start getting emails requesting review keys for your game. Sometimes it's a big YouTuber, sometimes it's a Twitch streamer, and sometimes it's a big curator group on Steam. At least 90% of these are scams. So if PewDiePie sends you an email pleading for a review copy, don't get too excited just yet. Many times they will have an email address that is similar to an actual email address used by a creator, or then they will just claim to be someone who doesn't have a contact detail easily available on their channel. Actual creators might still contact you by email, but it's going to be quite rare. I would advise you to verify their identity before sending a key. For example, if they have a popular Twitter account, you could ask them to message you over there. Of course, if you have a hunch that they might be who they say they are and don't want to bother with verification, you could just take a chance. It's just one key after all, but know that there is a possibility that the key will end up on a key reselling site. Number 5. Make it easy for the creator. This is a general tip that applies to many different things. I consider it to be one of the most important things that you should internalize. In general, when you are wondering how to approach a subject where you need to work with another person, think, how can you make it as easy as you can for the other person? You want to make it easy for the creator to understand what your game is about, so you will include a very short description already in the title or the first line in the email after greetings. You want to make it easy for the creator to try out your game, so you will include a Steam key already in your first email. You want to make it easy for the creator to get additional information, so you will give a direct link to your press kit, and so on. These were just few examples. The creator shouldn't have to spend time replying to you just to ask some basic question. Put yourself in the shoes of a busy creator. How would you want to be approached if you were busy and got tens or hundreds of emails every day? Are you able to modify your own approach somehow to make it easier for the creator? All this applies to approaching journalists also, by the way. Additionally, with journalists, you might also want to provide them with pre-written snippets about your game, so they will have an easier time writing their own article if they choose to do so. I mean, ideally, they would come up with all the content themselves from start to finish, but they are also very busy, and if they have 5 other articles to write that day, they will welcome any viable shortcuts presented to them. The general concept of this tip applies to many other things in life also. The easier you make things for others and the easier you are to work with, the likelier it is that the others will want to work with you. But hey, those were the tips I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully you found them helpful. There are definitely always things you can improve and optimize to get even better results than before. If you have some tips of your own, I would be happy to hear about them. Alright, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.